And we're on. Hello and welcome to podcast episode 83 of Rope-A-Dope Boxing, where the two Daves are back yet again on a Monday, catering for all your boxing needs. David boy, how was the weekend? You was going to have a quiet one last time we spoke. Did it end up being a quiet one, mate, or did it go a bit mad?
No, it was exactly as you said on the tin, mate. I was good. I was very good. I surprised myself because I can't remember the last time I wasn't fucking rough on the weekends, mate. I've got to be fucking honest. Honestly, I woke up Sunday, right? And it's the best I've felt in fucking, it feels like forever. I felt fucking great. You know, I felt like fucking Uncle Albert when he was taking old Dookie Wookie's fucking medicine.
Yeah.
I was on the Bob
vitality
Martins.
pills.
I thought I was on the Bob Martins.
Yeah, the Bob Martins, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah. I felt great, I did. So Saturday I went and saw my mum and dad, so that was very nice. Took the kids to see them. Spent the day with them, which was lovely. Come home and watched the boxing. Got right into the boxing. And Sunday I didn't really do a lot, mate. It was very, very nice. Walked the dogs. That was about as much as I did. So nothing to report this weekend, mate. But you're gonna have the Christmas party season's coming up.
Yeah.
I've already been invited to so many different things, like through my work. You know what it's like. Everyone wants to take you for drinks and stuff like that. It's all free, so it's very tempting. But I've got 3 already booked in, and I was like, oh my god! Like, and I know it ain't even the beginning of it, so I need.
It's rude to say no as well. By the way, it's rude to say no. It's a season of goodwill and all that.
Exactly. Which it's so tempting when you know you ain't got to spend any money, especially how much it is for a beer these days.
I didn't even mean it like that. I just meant going out getting wankered, mate.
Oh no. But I'm so I've got a lot coming up. So it was nice to have this weekend fresh, mate. So what did you get up to? Did you get pissed?
I wasn't supposed to. Obviously, we was off last week, meeting Beck. Obviously, I came down to London, met you guys on the Wednesday. Yeah. Stourbridge didn't have a game on Sunday because it was postponed because Wolves were playing in the County Cup. We was going to go and watch Kidderminster Girls, but their game was postponed. I mean, Freya has like a personal trainer, a football trainer, who plays for a team. They were playing down in fucking Sutton United. That's your way, isn't it? That's London,
yeah.
So I wasn't going all the way there just to watch a game of football. So we thought we'd go down to the local Stourbridge Football Club and just have a few drinks. We had Noah's friends staying over. So they had a match in the morning. We went down there from like 1 o'clock, let them play football all day. So me and Beck just had a couple of drinks. A couple of drinks turned into a couple of barrels, mate. She decided to start buying shots at 3:30 in the afternoon. And it's just 6:30, I was gone. I was pissed as a fart. Now, I drank all day with an alt day, most of the day on Wednesday with you and Lee and whatnot. And I was fine. I remember everything. Don't get me wrong, I was pissed by the end of the night. Got home safely. But yesterday, man, fucking hell. I can tell you some more stories off air. It's not really appropriate on a boxing podcast. But I got absolutely smashed, mate. And I think I do need a bit of a break off it as well. Not making any excuse. Don't drink, kids. It's not big.
Did you end up upsetting anyone? Did you upset anyone?
Not as far as I know. I was just wankered, mate. I was just pissed. I normally get the old stories the next day. Do you know what I mean? Or you said this and you said that. But not as far as I know.
That's what I mean. Sometimes
just really,
I wake
really
up.
Drunk, mate.
Yeah,
sometimes really drunk.
When I can't remember, I wake up and I think, oh no, please tell me I ain't upset anyone. And 9 times out of 10, I haven't. But you do worry because it's a complete blank. And I hate it. I love a drink, but I hate being blacked out.
I reckon it's an age thing, you know. So only since I got into my 40s, I can drink just as much as I could in my 20s, if not more. But now I'm only remembering 3/4 of a night.
Yeah. And
I can't remember the rest. And we was only out like from 1 till 6:30. I mean, we've done bigger sessions than that. Well, I've certainly done bigger sessions out on my own.
It makes a massive difference what you eat and how you're feeling.
Yeah, of course it
go
is,
out and all that. It does.
Yeah, it does, mate. But yeah, we had because it was Faye's birthday on the Saturday. I didn't mention that. It's Faye's birthday, so she played a match in the morning. We took her friend to Birmingham. It's absolutely rammed up there. You've got the Christmas market on. Plus, you might not know, or you might know. You've got daughters, so you do know. You heard of that shop Sephora? There's all skincare and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah.
There's one in Westfield in London. We took Freya down there early on in the year, but they've opened one in Birmingham. So everybody they were queuing from the shop, letting X amount in at a time, all the way outside the boring. It was absolutely heaving. It was raining as well. So we got a takeaway on the way home. Couldn't manage it all with the beers. It was obviously Latino night boxing on. So I even had the rest of the Tick and Chica left over from the night before to settle my stomach. But shots are lethal, man. I'll tell you what, like 44 quid I spent. Now, some people listening thinking, that's not a lot. 14 shots. So ended up with like 7 of us, 2 each. Not only did I ruin my liver, I ruined my bank balance as well. I think I spent more then than I did in London the other day. But hey ho, you only live once in this body. That's what I say, mate. But yeah, I'm going to give it a break. But obviously, this time next week when we do our podcast, how'd you get on, Dave? I had a couple of pints and it led to a couple of shorts. You know how it goes, mate. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, quiet one for you and a hectic one for me. But as we normally say, mate, people are here for the boxing. I'm not here for our old strikes, even though they probably like listen to what we've been up to. So we will start in a certain place, guys. I've got used to doing my little banners. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to pick this one up. And obviously, it says, "Did you watch the circus?" Now, I'm not talking about Zippos or Koshel Circus we used to get in the UK. I'm on about that thing that happened on Friday night over in Dallas. Now, I stuck to my words, mate. I said I wasn't going to watch it, and I haven't. I haven't seen one clip of the circus I'm going to refer it to, because I have seen on my Twitter feed since it happened, and I quickly go past. I know the result. I've seen the messages come out after about things that bits and bats about how so-and-so performed. But I honestly swear on my kid's life, I did not watch any. And I said that on last week's show, my little rant, and I stuck to my gun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold my arms. I'm going to ask you the question there. Did you watch the circus? If yes, tell the masses about it if you want. If no, we can move on.
You might as well click that little special button you've got that goes to Serrano versus Taylor, or Taylor versus Serrano. Everyone look at it. No, I see little bits of clips of it. I have no interest in it. I'm just glad that Mike Tyson come out there with his faculties intact, and that's all I can really say on it.
Fair enough. Sorry, guys. I made my feelings clear last week, and if that same sort of scenario happens again with Tyson or with Holyfield or with any fighter that's age 60 plus, whatever, I won't be changing. So yeah, if you've come for that, you might as well bugger off now. But we're going to talk about some real boxing now, dude. Here we go. There we go. Right, so you can see there, guys. Did Taylor really win? So obviously we're talking about Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, number 2. Obviously on the undercard of the shit show we just spoke about briefly. 50 million people watched this, Dave. So record numbers were for the circus. That apparently that took in 60 million viewers on Netflix. They had a lot of problems with it, the stream.
Yeah.
So many people tuned in. It kept cutting out. People had to reboot and all that sort of thing. Not what you wanted to do, especially if you're setting your alarm to get up and watch it. But a lot of people did set their alarms because you had 50 million eyes watching Taylor versus Serrano, number 2. And then the next 10 million, obviously, set their alarms and got up and watched that. But, mate, yeah, well done, girls. It's record-breaking numbers, as I said last time. Yes, people have come to watch the other thing, but you've had 50 million people watch. It's not the biggest world title fight ever, but it's the biggest audience, and it's a women's boxing fight. So anybody that comes at you and starts throwing stats and records and he done this and he done this, so hang on a minute, the biggest feud fight in ever is Taylor versus Serrano 2, and I'm glad it got massive numbers, not just because they're girls, not because we shout to the high tops about women's boxing, give it some recognition. The fight again, mate, it delivered. It delivered for me, and I've put up there on the screen. Did Taylor really win? And I asked you that question. I asked everybody that question because I didn't think she did. It was a very close fight at times. I had Serrano 4-0 up going into the 5th. Katie Taylor had her moment. She won her rounds. She had a point deducted, which we'll get into as well. And I'm glad she did get it a point deducted. There's no hate here, guys. I'm going to take Katie Taylor. I'm a massive Katie Taylor fan. But you've got to see it how it portrayed in the fight. And I thought I had Amanda Serrano winning by two rounds, Dave. It was Serrano's sort of big shots against Katie Taylor's combinations. That's how I saw the fight going. If you come up to me now and say, well, I saw Katie Taylor winning that fight, I had it by a round, I'll sort of, could be a couple of swing rounds in there. I just don't think she won the fight. How did you think, mate? How did you see it going?
Well, me and you haven't spoken about this, so we'll let the viewers / podcast listeners now, because that's what we are, decide. But no, for me, I had it a draw. Yeah,
I can see a draw. I can see a draw.
Yeah, I felt that Katie Taylor performed better than the first fight. I thought she was better this time round. I thought her punches were more clear. It was more clean and effective work. She rocked Amanda Serrano's head back a few times in that. And to be fair to her, she done the rounds better than I expected her to. I've got to be totally honest. I expected her to fade later on in the fight, which she did a little bit, but not as much as I felt she was. How I'd been speaking to previous guests that we had on. I felt that was when Serrano would completely take over, push her back. But she, for me, she done the fight, done the rounds pretty well, better than I expected. So again, she fights in bursts. She fights she goes fours and threes and fours, and that's where her eye-catching work comes from. I feel the cut was a massive thing in the fight for me. I feel like it really did affect Amanda Serrano. I feel that when that happened, I feel like obviously she was frustrated because Taylor was coming in. I mean, she throws. She's very much like Josh Warren, and Josh Warren gets the same sort of thing thrown at him.
Yeah.
Where she rushes in, and when she does, she goes in with her head. Now it doesn't help that one's orthodox and one's southpaw, because you get that when you get a clash like that, clash of styles, when it's a southpaw and an orthodox fighter fighting each other. They tend to have them type of clashes as well. But there was a couple of times in there where I see Katie Taylor rubbing and doing the dark arts, where she was sort of rubbing her head into it.
Yeah.
So
we have to talk about it. We have to talk about. Now you've mentioned it, we have to talk about it, because I've seen online people talking about the hate for Katie Taylor.
No,
it's no hate at all. You've just nailed it. That's how she fights. An orthodox fighter versus a southpaw fighter. When she goes in low, and her head happens to catch Amanda Serrano. This time, it caught her on the top and it cut her. It was a massive gash. It's a horrible gash. The cut man, fair fucks to him. He done a really good job in between rounds. You know, putting the Vaseline on, trying to get rid of the as much blood and pus and whatnot out of it, so she was ready to go again. But at the end of the day, whether we loathe or whatever about Katie Taylor, it's an illegal shot. It's a headbutt. It's an illegal shot. What about if they all done it? Where do we go from there? So it is an illegal shot. It's a headbutt. And she got away with it, and she kept doing it. You just said she kept rubbing into it. And she's done that. And I think you mentioned it in the Chantel Cameron fight. She was trying to do it. And she's got caught, and she had a point deducted and fair fucks. You can't do it. You just can't do it. But she still went on to win the fight with that point deduction.
Yeah.
You know, so I just think Amanda Serrano is a little bit hard done by. But again, it's about what you like to an extent. And you are right. She did do the rounds really well, especially the back end of the fight.
Yeah.
I think I gave her the last round, but it was just in bursts. And then what you're looking for? You're looking for that straight right from Amanda Serrano. Sorry, the jab from Amanda Serrano, and the straight left. Or you're looking for that head down. Bum, 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 bum. No, it's really hard to call. But I've got to admit, watching those two fights, Dave, thoroughly entertained. I thought Amanda Serrano did enough to win both. They're talking trilogies. Now, you know my opinion on trilogies. It's 2-0. It's the rivalry, in my opinion, is done. But then if you're coming from a commercial point of view, doing it at Croke Park, the final hurrah, if you like, you go back and look in the record books. It says Amanda Serrano, if she was to win, gets the last laugh. But she's already won a trilogy, man. So where do you think she should go? Trilogy with Serrano, trilogy with Cameron? What are you saying, man?
Well, see, me and Cameron are friends now.
She ain't on the Bacoli files, by the way. But
no, she's not. No. But you know what? The minute I mentioned the podcast, she never answered back. but I'd like to see it again. I think, you know, it's been so close. For me, scoring it, Taylor hasn't won a fight. She's for me, it's one and a draw. So I can see it again. I think, you know, they're gonna, you know, you get their names going to be etched in together. You know, your Eubanks, Benz, your Fox Groves. It's going to be Serrano Taylor. They're going to be etched in there together. Your Fury Wilders. I would like to see it again. I know what you're saying about the trilogy, but these fights are amazing fights. They're brilliant fights. I don't know. I mean, this is the highest of highs. Where do they both go without each other now? Yes, Chantel Cameron's 1-1, but their fight. But yeah, it is a proper trilogy. But at the same time, it wasn't as exciting as this. Would you give up a Taylor versus Cameron to see who's the winner of that, or a third fight with Serrano based on the actual fight? I know the narratives, but based on the actual fight, I think 99% of people will call for Serrano again. It was a great fight. It was a really, really good fight.
Maybe I'm a little bit off. I'm a bit off field, and because as I said there about my attitude towards trilogies, it's 2-0. To me, it's the rivalry's done. Would I like to see it again just as another fight? 100%.
Yeah.
Sign up now. But as I won one, you won one. Now the rubber match. Let's see who the balance is, motherfucker. And to me, it has to be Chantel Cameron.
Oh, fair enough.
You know, for me personally, that's what I would like to see, because we've seen that other one twice and she's won it twice. Like I just said, if you go back into the record books, if they were to fight a third time with Serrano and Serrano does win it, you'd say, well, she had the last laugh, but the trilogy was already done at 2. Maybe it's the word trilogy, Dave, that's kind of and not so much annoys me, but I think, well, it's 2-0. You have to fight 5 times for you to revenge that loss. So mate, I'm down with any of them. I'm down with any of them. I mean, you go on to Serrano as well. Where does she go? She doesn't get the trilogy. The Scar Nicholson fight is the one that she doesn't seem to want to know about. I mean, she binned the belt because of the 12 frees that she wants. Does she want to go down the Scar Nicholson route, changing of the guard possibly? Yeah, it's interesting, mate. So yeah, Serrano as well. Where does she go?
This is what I mean. I think they say they're both in that sort of club now, where they've, like I say, they've just had the biggest view fight ever. Anything else now is what. So I really don't know. Like I say, other than them fighting, yes, Chantel Cameron is, there's interest in that, and then there is. I just don't know where when you've just now hit the absolute peak of your whole career, your whole life. Can you get up for anything else now? That might be the question they've got next. But just going back to the fight there as well, which we just didn't really mention, is when Amanda Serrano caught Katie Taylor in the first round. Just before the bell. Absolutely rocked her. And she's done well to come back with that, to be fair. That was the first time you ever seen her hurt like that. But yeah,
the power out of the two girls.
Oh yeah, but that was always
sorry, mate, even though Serrano was moving up about 2 or 3 weights,
Yeah.
She still carries the power.
It's a great shot. It's a fucking great shot. But listen, the event is one thing, but the fight as a whole was an amazing fight, and fair play to both girls. They deserve all the credit in the world. They're both ambassadors for the women's sport. They're both Hall of Famers when it comes to women. They've done so much, for women's boxing, and they put on a fucking show. That was an amazing fight. There's not one person, whether you like female boxing or you don't think they should be in it, look and watch that fight and think it was shit. Like that was a Gatti Ward sort of fight. That was one of them type of fights. You could put them in that type of bracket. You know what I mean? It was a brilliant fight, and both girls have come over a lot of credit. I've got to give Katie Taylor a little bit more credit because I sort of thought she was on the decline, and I
still think she is, Dave. To be honest, she just pulled it out of the bag. I do. I don't go back on what I've said. I still think she's 38, and she's not getting any younger. And for what we have seen, what's the phrase we use about your last fight? Only as good as your last fight.
As good as your last fight, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We have seen parts of her wilting, decaying, if you like, if you want to use that terminology. But she's done really well on Friday night. So I do think she's at the back end of it. I do think she's slowing down. She had her moments. She won her rounds. You had it a draw. A lot of people had it a Taylor win. A lot of people had a Serrano win, and that's why I can get on board with a third one, but not as a trilogy. Maybe it's a Dave G thing. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I totally understand that, man. I just felt that she'd done the back end of the fight. I've always accused her in the last few fights of fading towards the end. I felt that she maybe it was a second win, maybe it was the occasion. But then I also do feel that, like, again, and I said it earlier, I do feel the cut had a difference in Amanda Serrano, because you could see she was frustrated. She was, every time that she was pushed back against the ropes or into the corner, the head was coming. You could see her moving her head like this to try and get out of the way of it. And I feel that frustrated her, because she come out and said a few bits after, didn't she, that she's now retracted and said, listen, like, so I think she was, I think that threw her off a little bit. The headbutting and that threw her off. And I feel like that affected her later on in the fight, because, like you said, she had a great start to the fight for me. And, I feel that made a massive difference. But great fight anyway. Loved it.
Yeah, well done, girls. Well done. Shoo Easy. Bruce Shoo Carrington, we're obviously talking about, was on this. He was on the prelims before the TV card. Saw the Shoo of old, if you like. I thought David did exactly the same thing as Ray Ford did the week before. Dominated his opponent like Ray Ford did. Floored his opponent twice like Ray Ford did. Yeah. Scores of 80-70 on all 3 scorecards were spot on for me. It was Shoo Carrington reverting to type since the Sagawa fight. Yeah. I thought it was an easy night's work for him. Impressed.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot you can go on really with this. I don't know whether his opponent was a brave lad, stuck at it. Took some good shots. Took some really good shots. It's one of them. Like I say, he looks good, but my only concern is he looking good over with a certain type of opponent. Now, I don't want to poo-poo the performance, because it was a good performance, but he didn't do it against Sagawa, did he? Is he doing this to a certain level of opponent? That's my only concern. Now, I don't want to come out and criticise after a good performance. Do I look at this and think, yes, he's back? I don't know. It's my total honest, Dave. I've got to be totally honest with you. Yes, he dominated the fight. He dominated the fight, but I feel
Yeah,
like yeah. I don't want to be blindsided or by the fact that is he back? Yeah, that was great. It was a good performance. It really was, and there's not a lot you can criticise it on. Was his opponent great? You tell me, was he?
Well, when I say he's back, I don't mean in terms of he was ever gone. It was just a performance last time. He's still a prospect, was he? 14-15-0, and he's on this card, I believe, because he's from Brownsville, and Mike Tyson, I think, apparently wanted him on there.
Yeah.
And his opponent, I have no idea whether it was last minute or whether it was pre-planned. No idea. He was an okay fighter. Good fundamentals, but he was levels below Shoo Carrington. It was Dave. It was for 8 rounds as well, so sort of keep busy before Christmas, get a nice little pay packet, and then crack on again next year. That's the way I saw it.
Yeah,
it was very, very easy work for him.
It was, but I don't want to get carried away because I want to see this type of performance against a credible opponent.
Yeah, of course.
Is the only thing. Like I say, we know he can do this, and we've seen him do it in the past. But I want to see him do it against a good solid opponent. And Sagawa could have been that guy. I just feel like it was a bad. I wouldn't say it was a bad night, but he just done things different in his last. I don't know what he was trying to do against Sagawa, but if he puts that performance on against Sagawa, then everyone's talking about it. You know what I mean? But what I will say about him is activity. He's been out 4 times this year. Class. That's what we want. That's what we want for a prospect. Get out there. And I'm glad he was on this show. And he deserved it. So I'll give credit where it's due there because he is a great fighter. And he put his shots together very well. Dropped him twice. And he looked very, very, very good. Very good. But I want to see a step up now. Yeah. I do. I want to see a step. And I want to see that type of performance against someone who's good. And then you can go right now. Now we're seeing the real deal because he's got all the skills to do it. He really, really has. He's got the fundamentals, great footwork. He got a little bit of power there as well. And I'm looking. Like I say, I was never off the train. Obviously, we're fans of Shoo Carrington, but I want to see it now against a credible opponent, a name.
It's interesting you say that because I had a look at the rankings before I come on the podcast, and he's ranked number 1 already with the WBC. So their champion, obviously, Ray Vargas, who's champion in recess. Figueroa is the champion in Vargas is the champion in recess now. Figueroa has been upgraded to full champion, so he's going in with Stephen Fulton. And you've got Carrington ranked at number 2 with the WBA and number 2 with the WBO. So he's highly ranked already, even after 15 fights. So obviously we've got Rafael Espinosa and Robson Ramirez doing their thing soon. I think that's next week, actually. That's on the undercard of Navarrete versus Valdez. And I'm actually looking more forward to Espinosa versus Robson Ramirez because the first fight was a cracker. So all top-ranked fighters, he could get a chance next year against one of them. I'm guessing Bob Arum would want to keep it in-house. He'd want to keep that belt in-house, whether Shoo was to lose against Espinosa or Robson Ramirez. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's obviously with the WBA being ranked number 2, the champion's Nick Bull. And I don't think Inoue is going down the featherweight route just yet. So Nick Bull's going to be looking for opponents, and Bruce Carrington, who knows? He just had a firecracker of Ray Ford. Why can't he have it with Shoo? So the opportunities are there. The names are there. And like you just said, you want to see him in with a credible opponent. Just give you 3 names there, man.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Based on the ranking system as well. Do you know what I mean? He's ranked there for a reason. So
yeah. Well, that's it. Like I say, I mean, how many? I mean, I don't want to disrespect his opponent. I didn't know a lot about him, Caldwell. But there's only so many times we can go, yes, he could do. He's brilliant at what he does and all that. But yeah, he is. But let's see it against someone. Let's see it against, and then we can start saying, right, now he's the real deal. You know what I mean? Now this is it. Again, he's been active enough. He's getting out there. He's learning on the job. I'm looking forward. Obviously, we've been looking forward to seeing what he's going to be doing in the next year. But I think next year could be a big year for him. I really, really do. I think this is really see what he made up. He's got all the fundamentals. He really has. He's got all the skills. So I want to see it now. Against a good name. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely, mate. Mario Barrios versus Abel Ramos. Now, I put that up there. Me and Dave, as Dave said, we haven't spoken about this. We were back and forwards on Saturday night with the Latino night card. We were both watching it. And we were texting each other and whatnot. Now, I've seen online, Barrios has got a lot of stick for this. I understand to an extent. I thought this was a really good fight.
Yeah,
I didn't give Abel Ramos really any kudos last week because I didn't. Yeah. I thought Barrios would be far too good for him, even though it's in a weak division. I enjoyed the fight. I think the draw was accurate. Yeah. There was 2 knockdowns in there, 1 apiece. both having success. You throw, I throw. And why I've written that, Dave, improvements needed for Barrios, I thought it was really good. But his defence is quite powder puff.
Yeah.
Abel Ramos, every time he threw through the guard and landed and around the sides of the guard. He was having so much success for somebody that had his guard up so high. I found it a little bit odd. But yeah, majorly impressed with Ramos from what I saw. He was, again, as we said last week, mate, he's on a massive stage. He was on the main card. He wants people to go away talking about Abel Ramos. No, not Mario Barrios. And I thought Matt Barrios was brilliant. Nice feet, nice movement, nice fakes, bit of lateral movement, picked his shots well. But he got caught too many times with the guard up, which I found was very, very strange. But all in all, I thought it was a great performance from both guys.
Yeah, it really, really was. I enjoyed this fight. I really did. I think I called it pretty close. I was listening back this morning on the way to work. I said that this would be a close one. I called it for Barrios just to nick it. But I did say that Ramos was a credible opponent, and he proved to be that even more so. But for me, it was a fight of two halves. It was a fight of two halves. I feel Barrios come out the blocks very well. Stood centre of the ring, and let his shots go and looked good doing it. Head to body, looked very, very good. But and that's basically where the fight stayed. It stayed in the centre of the ring. Both of them, throwing good shots, and it was very to and fro. So like I say, the first half of the fight was all Barrios for me. Did he get a little bit complacent? I think so. I think so. And then what happened when Ramos dropped him? You see he just sort of went up a level. He got a spring in his step, and
roll the dice.
Really went for it in the second half. I say I've seen.
It's for a title as well, Dave. It's for Barrios' title, so he's got up. He's thought, fuck it, roll the dice, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely, and it turned out to be a really good slobber knocker. That's what it was. It was a slobber knocker. Right, both centre of the ring, no one giving up any ground, and both throwing some really, really good shots to head and body. But it was like a phone box fight. It was I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. And for me, I think the draw was correct. I couldn't watching that fight. For me, I couldn't call a winner. I couldn't say and go, yeah, he absolutely won that fight. So for the scorecards to be what they were was ridiculous for me. I just don't understand it, because for me, we talk about a tale or two halves, but this really, really was. For me, it was the first 6 and the last 6, really. I mean, that's as much as you could talk or call it. Obviously, there were swing rounds in there. If you really want to dig deep into it, but for me, it was I couldn't split them, and I'd love to see that again. For me, it was a great, really, really, really good fight. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I was going to ask you about, obviously, talking about his defence.
Yeah,
how easy it was to hit through the guard. Conor Benn is ranked quite high. Hear me out. With the WBC, he's a WBC champion. So when he does get his license back, he doesn't have to be a British Boxing Body Control license. Barrios is based out in the States. Minus the eggs, Conor Benn, tongue in cheek, Conor Benn hits quite hard. Do you think Conor Benn be licking his lips at that or not?
I don't know. I don't think it's as one sided as what people may think. There was enough
in terms of landing the shot. I mean,
defensively, possibly, but offensively, I think he's got enough in his arsenal to keep Conor Benn at bay, and and he's got power as well. So he will earn his respect. I think he's good for the first half of the fight. I look at Barrios and I feel like you drag him into the second half of the fight, that's where you'll get your success. When you say when he's getting through the guard, I feel that's when he was tiring. I feel like keeping his guard up. I thought that was a struggle for him as fatigue wore in. But and Conor Benn's explosive and comes out the blocks early, so I don't know how quite that will work. But there's enough in his offensive work for me, Barrios, to make it a decent enough fight. I wouldn't like to call it at this stage, but defensive, yeah, I see what you're saying, but I feel like you wear him down. I feel like Barrios is there to be worn down and taken late.
Yeah.
If Conor Benn was going to do that, I think that's the way he would have to go. But whether he can do that is another thing. But it was a good fight, man. And like I say, Barrios throws a decent shot. I think that needs to be respected. But, so yeah, looking forward to. It's looking like he might go down the Barrios route. Conor Benn when he comes back. I'll admit that.
Yeah, he was calling for it, mate, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm just mucking about my banners here because I missed one out. I'm fucking about. Here we are. Right. So that was the main bits and bats we were talking about from Dallas. Move over to Riyadh. Latino night. We will talk about the atmosphere just at the end when we cover these fights, because it is a major talking point if we're going to go forward in making Riyadh the home of boxing, minus London and Las Vegas. But the main event, obviously, you can see on the screen there, I'll put Opetaia next for Zurdo. That's what everyone's kind of crying out for. But the fight, obviously, was Zurdo against Chris Billam-Smith. And I put on Twitter after this fight, padded record. What padded record? I mean, Oscar De La Hoya's got a reputation of padding fighters' records out. Very well matchmaking to make his fighters look better than what they are. I think it was kind of a close favourite with Chris Billam-Smith, maybe because it was a Golden Boy show. He's only lost once to Bivol. You know, you can't go by that because Bivol's elite, like we said last week. I think he's had 3 fights now at light heavyweight, cruiserweight, sorry, and he's won the championship against Gunnar Marin, and now he's won the championship again against Chris Billam-Smith. Very, very impressive. But before I want to give Zurdo his flowers, mate, Chris Billam-Smith, fuck me, tough, strong, full of heart, courage, desire. He's one hard motherfucker. He's tough as they come. I don't ever think he's been put down in his career.
No.
He came across someone on Saturday night in Zurdo Ramirez that was technically too good for him.
Yeah.
He came into the ring. I text you, was texting throughout. Laser focused. I like the look of him. He looked angry. He more or less sprinted to the ring, took his robe off. No, I'm ready to go now. Let's go. Yeah. Focused in, ready for Ramirez to come out. I want to take you out. And the first round, he looked mustard. I thought this ain't going to fight. He's going to smash Zurdo to bits.
Yeah.
What I was most impressed with Zurdo Ramirez, he's a big old lump. He looked like he just got out of bed. He looks lazy. He looks slow at times. His feet, he ain't got people. There was on the comms on about fast feet. I was looking at his feet. I was saying his feet ain't fast. He just knows where to place them to line a fucking shot up. His pivoting was fucking quality. Now we talk about pivoting like Lomachenko, Keyshawn Davis. There's a lot of pivoting amongst other fighters, but their feet are fast. He like sort of steps around slowly, sets his feet, and then lands a shot. Yeah. I think your fucking feet are amazing. Yeah. Like, I couldn't stop looking at his feet all night, even though he had so much success to the head and body. His feet, it was elite feet. That's what I've got to say about him. But I was highly impressed with Zurdo Ramirez. Best version I've seen of him ever, whatever weight class he's been in, and he deserves to be champion. But Chris Billam-Smith, mate, fair fucks to you. You've gone out there. You probably weren't even supposed to be a world champion. People were saying you should have been a British champion with your ceiling, European champion with your ceiling. You've gone and proved everybody wrong, and fair fucks to you. But you've got to give your flowers, your kudos, your praise, everything to Zurdo Ramirez. And as well, mate, to top them all off, another brilliant fight between two really good cruiserweights in kind of a weak division, you know? Yeah, no,
it was a better fight than I expected it to be, I've got to admit. And you're exactly right in everything you said about both fighters. Chris Billam-Smith, oh man, like tough as they come, really tough. Took some big shots, kept coming forward, probably too brave for his own good. At one point, I messaged you, said McGuigan's going to throw the towel in here, because I actually felt like he was. But you're right, the first round, I don't know whether Zurdo was sort of downloading or whatnot, but Billam-Smith came out great, and I thought, here we go. And then all of a sudden, that was about as much success as he had. It's almost like Zurdo had worked him out. Listen, we spoke about Chris Billam-Smith being doing the fundamentals very well. Not much of the wow factor, but but for me, he just sort of walked in straight lines with a high guard.
And, easy to hit, Dave, wasn't it? Very easy to hit.
Very easy to hit. Again, Zurdo, though, his movement for a big guy was unbelievable. That pivot was brilliant as well, like for the southpaw as well. He just sort of spun him. Don't know how many times. Just subtle movements with the feet. Just and that for someone of the way Chris Billam-Smith fights, it was tailor made for that. A little bit of movement, and that was all that was needed. And I'm with you. It was Zurdo's best performance I'd seen him. Really good. Couldn't miss with some of the shots that he was throwing. And then obviously, to be fair, Chris Billam-Smith was sort of looking for the one punch knockout towards the end, and just trying to win it with one shot. And
he stayed in there though.
Found him.
Yeah, he stayed in there all night.
He would never have got stopped.
He was open. He was blowing.
It could have gone 15 rounds, 20 rounds. He was never going to get stopped. His will to win, his desire, his heart, that can't be questioned. It was just too much movement for him. The footwork was key. You're exactly right in what you say. The footwork made all the difference in this fight. You had one guy who would is walking straight lines with a high guard and try and tee off, and the other guy moving from side to side, pivoting, southpaw, And then, as soon as he made that move, he had a free shot and he took it. So it was a really good fight though. Like I say, Chris Billam-Smith, brave as they come, probably too brave for his own good. Fair play to him though. You're right in what you say. We everyone's always doubted him. He's gone on to achieve amazing things.
I'll be back.
Him and his family. Oh, he'll be back. Him and his family so proud of what he's achieved. Yeah, like you said there about the division. He's still a player in that division because of what it is. You know what I mean? So yes, he's lost to Zerdo, but there's still big fights out there for him. He's still a name. He's still a big player in that division. And I want to see him back. He's like I say, he took some punishment, but he's had a fantastic career. And he should be proud of it.
Yeah. To be fair to him, he landed some of his big shots on Zerdo as well, and Zerdo just ate them all up. I was quite impressed with his chin. And if you look at the fight after, I don't normally go on benchmarks as in his face was all better than his, but Zerdo literally had nothing on him. He didn't have a scratch on him, and Chris Billam-Smith was landing on him all night as well.
Yeah.
And some big shots, but obviously the work rate, the bigger shots, the better shots were coming from Zerdo with the feet as well.
Yeah, I did feel as well though that Billam-Smith did gas around 4-5.
Yeah. I said that we texted each other, didn't we? I said his mouth's open now. He's gassing. Yeah. He got like a second win because he was still throwing to the end. He didn't just come in to survive, man. No, he's a proper champion. I want that belt, and I want to keep my belt as well. And after the fight, Dave, no excuses about his eyes. Just look, I signed up for this. I know what boxing's all about. If I get a cut eye, I've got a cut man there. That's what he's for, and I just got to get on with it. And he got his belt and he handed it to Zerdo. He's called the gentleman, and that is exactly what he is. He's one of the last week about his emotional videos about him crying and whatnot. Yeah. He's just a nice guy, and you feel guilty backing against him, but you've got to say it how it is. He was outclassed, really. Yeah. I just gave him about 3 rounds because Zerdo was, apart from the first round, he was brilliant for the rest of the fight, Zerdo. So yeah.
Well, I say Chris Billam-Smith's a credit to the sport. What happened after the fight is exactly how you should behave. None of this brashness, none of this. Oh, he's done. You know what? I got beaten by the better man, and then you know what I mean. So, and he credit to the sport. Fair play to him. He's achieved more than he ever thought he could. And again, as I say, this one defeat won't define him. Like he can still punch. He can definitely take a shot. And the division is what it is to a point where he can come back and have another go, even if it's to someone else or there's he's a name in that division. He is, and fair play to him. Good luck to him. I hope he heals well and spends some time, nice Christmas with his family.
To the banner there, Opataya. It has to be now. There's nobody else.
Definitely. But you know what? Based on this poor performance we've just seen from Zerdo, I don't think it's a complete walk in the park that people expected prior to this. Now, prior to this Chris Billam-Smith fight, Zerdo fight, I'd have gone straight away Opataya, and I still think he will win, but I think it's a lot closer. I don't think that Zerdo's not there for the taking.
Yeah, I don't know if he stopped him. I'm not sure if Opataya stopped him. From what I saw on Saturday night, he's got a granite chin, Zerdo.
Yeah,
and Opataya hits hard.
Yeah.
But it's Opataya's movement, isn't it? He's got that sort of. That's when Tyson Fury had Opataya in for sparring. He was the closest thing he could get to Usyk. No one is Usyk, quite clearly, but he's the closest thing you could get with the feet, where he bops up and down his movement. He's got that sort of praying mantis style as well, where he's bam moves out and then he counters. He's very quick. Completely different style to Chris Billam-Smith. So again, it's stylistically, it's a great matchup. But I agree with you. I think it's going to be a lot closer. But I still think Opataya is good enough to get it done on points. But mate, we saw against when he slows down back into the fight. That would be interesting as well,
Well, like I say, you've seen Zerdo there. Zerdo's got a lot of movement. Zerdo's not going to stand in straight lines, stand in the pocket, and just take shots. He's gonna move. You know what I mean? So it makes for a really, really good fight.
Yeah.
Now I feel it after that last night, Saturday night performance is a lot closer than what I would have thought prior to it. So looking forward to it. Yes, Opataya next was absolutely. There's nowhere else. There is nowhere else. I don't want to see Opataya going in with any more British level fighters. It has to be Zerdo, but it looks like the old Saudi sort of. Opataya's part of Saudi. Zerdo's just fought on Saudi. It looks like Uncle Turkey's. It's aligning the stars for this.
Definitely, mate. Well, a positive from that fight as well. The ring walk was 10:15. Now I know boxing's a worldwide thing, but for us here in the UK, got a similar time zone to Saudi Arabia. It was fucking perfect. So keep it up. I mean, the fights are one after the other. we're not seeing the half an hour, 40 minutes gap between each fight now. I'm loving it. It makes it flow a lot better. And 10:15 in the UK is a great time to have. No later than that, I don't think. No later than 10:30. 10:30 was fine. I had no problem with that whatsoever, you know. So keep doing that, guys. When it comes to putting on fights. So this was the one I missed. Barboza against Jose Ramirez, Dave.
Yeah.
The performance we saw from Arnold Barboza on Saturday was the performance I thought we were getting against Sean McComb. Two different fighters. Obviously, Sean McComb's a bit slower than Ramirez. He's taller, he's rangier, different styles, if you like. But I thought Barboza, again, we just spoke about Zurdo Ramirez dominating. I thought Barboza dominated this. We spoke in between this as we were watching it. I put on Twitter. Jose Ramirez is still a great fighter. He's a unified world champion. He's only lost to Josh Taylor. He's lost to Barboza now, obviously, as well. But he's very predictable in what he does. And Barboza worked him out within a round. All he was doing was coming forward, trying to cut the ring off. I get it. Landing the 1-2 and then trying to look for the knockout. Barboza's gone, right, I can see you loading up. I see what you're doing. You go that way. I'll move that way. You know, a few feints here, a bit of lateral movement, counter punching. His jab was amazing. I spoke there about getting through Barrios' guard. He was exactly the same with Ramirez. Barboza couldn't miss. And he was, I found it, I wouldn't say easy, but I think he's very, very comfortable against Ramirez. And I was quite surprised how comfortable he was. I thought it'd be a lot closer. But for me, when I put Barboza's back, his back is in the sense of how I expected him against Sean McComb. So now he's back and he can move on now and kind of win. He had a little rant about WBO as well. Can get a title shot, which he does deserve in terms of the ranking. So Barboza against Ramirez, right? Did you see it the same way as me?
Yeah, I did, mate. I found Ramirez. I felt he started okay. I felt he started the fight okay, Ramirez. But like you said, Dave, was worked out very, very. I found him very one-dimensional.
Yeah,
I found him very no plan B. You know, I don't know where. You know, you said he was trying to cut the ring, and he was, but it's more following him around the ring than cutting the ring off. I don't think he's done that very well. And he was being picked off on the way in, and he was being picked off through the whole 10 rounds. I found Barboza to be very comfortable. I feel like the pressure from Ramirez, you know, the fact that he was on the front foot, maybe fooled people into thinking that the fight was close. But if you looked at it from the way we look at fights, he's being picked off every time he was on the way in. So you know, we talk about educated pressure. You know, that sometimes when you fight, yes, he was putting the pressure on, but he wasn't landing, and he was just plodding forward for me. It wasn't a great performance. He's I don't think he's the fighter of old, which is that happens. He's not the fighter that got him with Josh Taylor, that's for sure. I found him very easy to be worked out on Saturday night, and I feel like it was a good performance. You know what? I looked at Barboza. They had a game plan for me. Looks like they had a game plan. They worked on stuff, and it showed.
Sorry, mate. We knew Barboza was better than what he showed against McComb, and he was frustrated with his performance as well because he let it out. Don't disrespect me. It was coming out of all this sort of stuff, anger, passion, relief. And mate, to be fair, all the boxing community did criticise him because he was rubbish. Sean McComb won that fight, whether you like to admit it or not, and he's come back and he's had a better performance against a better level of opponent. So I get all that, and I get his rant after as well with the WBO. But time will tell now whether he gets that next fight. But I'm with you, mate. I think it was. Comfortable is the word I'm going to.
It was comfortable. Like I say, you could be fooled into thinking it was closer by the fact that Ramirez was on the front foot, but no, not for me. I feel like he was being picked off. I think it was a good performance from Barboza. I really did. He didn't have to go in there and start trading and trying to push Ramirez back. He was, he boxed very well on the back foot, and it's one of the better performances. Much better than the McComb performance. Looked very, very good.
Right, let's get into this one now. There's the question. The question I've asked you for months since we're doing this podcast. So for audio listeners, obviously it's not great for audio listeners, but I'll read out the question. We're talking about William Cepeda versus Tevin Farmer. And the question I've got on the screen, guys, is did Farmer answer the question? Dave, take it away.
He did. Do you know what he did do? He did what we thought that no one would be doing, but we did. And I don't want to talk about myself in the third person because I actually did say the way to beat him is to push him back. And what did Farmer do? Done what he never does in any of his fights: pushed him back and had success doing it. Is the blueprint there now? Looks that way. I'll tell you one thing, right? And I sort of said in the preview of last week that I felt like Farmer was going to probably old man him. I thought this was going to be a harder fight than people thought. Do you know what you've got to stop doing? Stop treating Farmer as an opponent. Farmer's still a problem. He's always been a really, really good fighter. Yes, he's had his wins, he's had his losses, but he's always been a really, really good fighter. And for me, he proved it against Zepeda. Really did prove it. And it was a close fight. I agree that that Zepeda done just enough. Enough, though. But the Farmer's a very good fighter, and he needs to be treated with respect. And I don't know whether people go in the ring thinking he's got his best days are behind him or whatnot. But I think he certainly shocked me with his tactics, because you expect Farmer. It's fine to be tailor-made for Zepeda. Box on the back foot, try and pick him off with single shots. No, plenty of movement, and Zepeda just walk forward and throw a million punches like he does. But he stood centre of the ring, and I've never seen Zepeda go backwards. And he's not obviously not as good going backwards as he is going forwards. Well, I didn't expect him to be, because that's not the way he fights. But that's definitely the blueprint to beat him. And this was another good fight. Farmer dropped him with a straight right as well. And fucking kudos to Farmer. Farmer's must have listened to this podcast, because he went in there and done exactly what we said would be the way to win. We didn't think he would be the one to be able to do it. We actually couldn't name anyone that could fight that way, but he did it.
He made him look beat,
and he had success doing it as well. So
he made Zepeda look beatable.
He did.
Is what he done, and it wasn't just us. I'm still high on the kid. I'm not one of these ones that shit on someone because they've had a bad performance. And it wasn't a bad performance from Zepeda. He won the fight. He just said to himself he'd done enough, and he did do enough. And we'll speak about. We'll go straight into it as well when we speak about what are you looking for.
Yeah.
So this isn't a biased thing when it comes to Zepeda, even though I am biased. We're all biased to our favourite fighters. But if you look at it, he got a 10-8 round. He knocked Zepeda down. And I've got a little theory as well with Oscar. I spoke about Oscar's matchmaking, which is quite concerning, I think, maybe for Zepeda. But I'm still on the train with him. So William Zepeda, he's like a machine. He's an engine. He keeps throwing like fuck. Throw 100 shots around, which he was doing as per usual. Tevin Farmer is not really a puncher, but on Saturday night, he became a puncher. He traded with him. He pushed him back, just like Dave said. Now, 12 individual 3-minute rounds. Does Farmer do enough in those individual 3 minutes? So Tevin Farmer probably lands about, on average, 2 to 3 clean and effective shots, which does not so much hurt Zepeda, knocks him back, rocks his head back, and has success. Get it, love it. But for the rest of those 3 minutes, when Zepeda's actually throwing 100 shots around, they're not always hitting the gloves. They're not always they're not always missing. They are hitting the body. They are hitting the head. He's having a lot of clean and effective work success as well. So what are you looking for? Are you looking for the 1 or 2 shots that are more eye-catching? Or are you looking for the cleaner work that's constant for 36 minutes? Me and Dave speak about this all the time, universal scoring system. Now, if you like what Tevin Farmer does, that's fair enough, because sanctioning bodies will go off that. If you like what Zepeda does, sanctioning bodies will go off that. So it was very, very close. I think Zepeda's work rate was enough to win the fight. There was parts in that fight, Dave, especially the back end of the fight, where Zepeda, I don't know why he didn't target the body a lot earlier. Because Tevin Farmer he looked massive. He looked big, strong, bulky. He was putting his weight onto Zepeda as well. But back end of the fight, when Zepeda did try and target the body, you could not so much see Farmer wince, but he would come forward a lot more quicker to say, right, let me close in now. Let me get a bit close so he can't, his elbows are down low, so he can't get to my body. So I thought he was having effect. And that's what I thought Zepeda would do. He's quite methodical in his work. He breaks you down and he stops you. He didn't seem to have, I don't think Tevin Farmer appreciated or respected his power. He didn't seem to have any power, but the work was clean and the work was effective. So that's basically what you're looking for. And I will also come in what I just said about Oscar's matchmaking. Now, this is a little bit worried. I want your thoughts on this as well. So we talk about Oscar De La Hoya, we talk about Golden Boy, we talk about the padded records. Now, he hasn't really been in with anybody of world-class note. He went in with Gesta and he stopped Gesta. Get it, Gesta's a puncher. But a lot of his fighters, if you have a nosy down the resume and you hear bits and bats what people are saying, he's matchmade with guys that don't like to throw, that go on the back foot, that come to survive. Now, he's gone a guy early on in his career who floored him with the same shot, a guy that I can't, unless I've got box rec, I can't tell you his name. And obviously Tevin Farmer, if it's only got 8 stoppages in his career, he's never been known as a puncher, and he's caught him with the same shot. So if they matched him, Dave, with somebody that's a front-footed fighter, an aggressive fighter, that's got pop, William Zepeda may not have got this far in his career. He may have been stopped a lot earlier. So on one stage, it's quite worrying that when he does get in with a puncher, he might be stopped and sort of exposed, if you like. And another sense, it's really good matchmaking from Oscar De La Hoya, because he's ranked number 1 now. He's got that bullshit belt, which means he should be stripped from the other sanctioning bodies, and they have to make him against Shakur Stevenson. Whether we think he's going to go and win is another thing. But that, to take what I said about that, Dave, about the scoring system, which you always speak about, it's about what you like, and the matchmaking with him getting caught by not really big shots either. So
no,
I'll calm down now. You take over.
Well, like I say, I feel like Tevin Farmer earned his respect early, and then dropped him as well. So I feel like he was a little bit cagey in his attacks. So there's a lot of questions to be answered now.
See, look, let me. I've gone on and on. Then did Zepeda look more chinny than we thought?
Yes,
that's what I should have said in the first place.
Yeah, he did. Like I say, but then Shakur Stevenson straight out going food and all this sort of stuff. But Shakur Stevenson doesn't fight the way Tevin Farmer fought that fight. I'd never seen him go on the front foot like that. So I don't know how, how that fight plays out for me. Because if you fight on the back foot, for me, Zepeda will win. Because his work rate and he just will. If you push him back, then you're going to have success. So I don't know how Shakur Stevenson approaches that fight, but again, that's not been made yet. But going onto the fight, it was a great performance by Tevin Farmer. It really, really was. Again, people need to stop treating him like an opponent. For me, he's still got a lot left in the tank, man.
Gatekeeper, Dave.
I don't even think he's that yet. I think he's, like I say, the way that he's being, like I say he's being treated is disrespectful. But I think people forget how good he really was, and I think last night, on Saturday night, he showed people how good he was against a fucking real opponent.
Well, his last 2 defeats have obviously been to Zepeda and Muratella. 2 guys that sort of, I wouldn't say nailed on, but 2 guys who are expected to go and win world titles. Yeah. That's why I've kind of said,
they're using him as a gatekeeper, for sure. He's being used as an opponent, but for me, he's better than that. And he gave Zepeda the fight of his life Saturday night. He really, really did. Yeah. And
that defense needs improvement, man. They've got a lot of work now. Now he's stepping up to the big boys, if you like.
Yeah. Well, I say, you sort of see, I mean, yes, he won the fight, but you see how a fighter is when the things ain't going his way, and you've never really seen that with Zepeda, because he's always gone in there and just absolutely outworked every single person. And so now Tevin Farmer, we talk blueprints all the time, but Tevin Farmer sort of set Tevin Farmer's I can't say his name. I've gone Devon, I've gone Palmer. No, he set the blueprint for me, mate. And we'll see what's happening now. You'll see people may come out of the woodworks calling Zepeda out, because he's been one of them sort of fighters that no one does. It wasn't a bad performance. Styles make fights, so people might look at this and think, yeah, come on then. So you might start seeing a little bit coming Zepeda's way.
Yeah, it's about time he was asked questions anyway. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Good luck to both guys. Whatever they're going to do next. Right. Oscar Collazo, king of the minimum weights. Now, we said last week, just briefly spoke about him. I'd never watched him before, and I'd never seen his opponent in CP Freshmart. We also said they could steal the show. Now, to me, the main event was the best fight on the card. There were some good ones, but this was a close second to me, Dave. 7.5 stone guys stealing the show, or nearly stealing the show yet again. Oscar Collazo, man, I've just put there, take a bow. Download, break down, and stop his opponent. I was very impressed with what I saw from this guy. I'll be definitely tuning in to watch him again. I'll be definitely previewing and reviewing all of his next fights. Now he's kind of unified the division. I think there's a couple more belts out there he's got to get. Looking very smart in that Ring Magazine belt, which they kept going on about. Great fight. CP Freshmart. Do you realise why? Did you find out why he was called CP Freshmart?
Yeah.
Because apparently in Thailand, when somebody sponsors them, they take their sponsor name to get more money or revenue and stuff like that. So it kind of makes sense in a sort of third world country to get all the money they can. Obviously, that's not his biblical name or his Christian name, whatever you want to say. It's a name we can't pronounce, so it does help calling him CP. But he was game as well. But I think the difference was, Dave, that the skill set and the level. I mean, this guy, I don't think CP Freshmart had ever been stopped or dropped. He was he definitely hadn't been stopped. He was unbeaten. He was looking for single shots. He was looking for single shots all night, and sort of again what he spoke about. Not Barrios, Barboza working out his opponent. He done exactly the same after the first round. A bit of a download, had a look. Don't respect your power. I know exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to land the big shot to knock me out. He caught him a couple of times, but then he just sort of took over. Great feet, great movement. Again, the feints, lateral movement, picking his shots, setting traps. Loved every minute of it. And you know the best thing about this fight, Dave, was CP Freshmart's corner. Yeah! Yeah! Even the commentators. I've never heard anything like that. Every time he landed the shot, he was going, yeah!
Even the commentators
listen to know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, mate, the corner work by old EO and Oscar Collazo himself, super impressed.
Yeah, even the commentators were saying about it during the fight.
Yeah, it's odd.
Yeah, what I said there, if there was an atmosphere, you wouldn't hear that.
Yeah.
But no, great performance for Oscar Collazo. I'm really high on him. Everything he was doing was fantastic. You know, I think CP Freshman, knockout freshman, whatever, he was a champion for 7 years, so he was no mug. And for me, he got taken apart. You know, he got worked out, he downloaded on and literally taken apart in a really good performance. I'm with you. I get buzzed. Like, obviously, Bam Rodriguez is my guy, and there's a few other ties. But you see this Oscar Collazo, he falls into one of them brackets on a performance like that for me. You know, I'm definitely going to be like you. I'm going to be watching out for him. I thought he was fantastic in everything that he done. For me, that's a superstar performance there. That really is a breakout.
3 heavy knockdowns as well, wasn't it? Sorry, mate. 3 heavy knockdowns as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, CP Freshman was a game, and the game as they come, but that was a really good performance by Oscar Collazo. Like, I'm high on him, and keep. I mean, it's very hard to start talking about pound for pound lists and stuff like that, but if he keeps going the way he's going, mate, he's going to be another star one of them small weights. He really is. It was a great performance, mate. Really good performance.
I'm glad as well that guys weighing 7.5 stone have actually got onto this type of card, and people are noticing them, are talking about them, and they're getting well paid. We wouldn't be speaking about them. We don't cover. We try and cover as much as we can. Obviously, there's so much boxing about, but when you go into the 7.5 stone guys, you don't really know anything about them. You're kind of trying to wing it. So we like to try and tell you everything we know, instead of sort of reading something and say, oh, he does this and he does that. We've never seen them, so this is why I just gave it a brief. But from now on, what we've seen of Collazo, I've been watching over every one of his fights, and I'm pleased that they both got paid. People are talking about him. Van Dabby Dozy. So yeah, that was basically the Latino night card. Just quickly, another. I wouldn't say I'm really moan today, but a little moan on Judge. I did write his name down. Junbei Lim. So I'm referring to the Oscar Duarte against Akhmedov fight. One of the early fights. It was absolutely criminal. Now Turkey's trying to clean up the sport. They need to get rid of this fucking judge. Don't give 2 shits. Everyone was going mad about it. I haven't got a problem with Duarte winning it. I didn't think he won the fight. I've got to be totally honest. But I need that judge to sit down with me and Dave from Rope It Up Boxing Podcast and explain to me how he only gave Akhmedov 2 rounds. It just literally didn't happen. He was busy for the whole 10 rounds. He was landing clean and effective work. He was throwing more shots. He was doing everything better than Duarte. Duarte had the bigger. He was also trying to match it. He had big shots. He had moments. Sometimes he rocked Akhmedov. So I can kind of go along with. You may be able to give it in by a point, but to score him 2 rounds is fucking dog shit. And that guy needs to get fucked off, literally. And he was a judge in one of the other fights, but he didn't fuck that up. I can't remember which one, but it wasn't good enough, and it could have cost. It has kind of cost Akhmedov, because he should have won that fight. But yeah, Turkey, if you're listening, brother, I love everything you're doing at the moment, but don't have this dude on again. That was wank.
No, especially as last week you said that there'd be no shitty judges' scores.
I hoped. Saudi. Right, mate. I did. I hoped, but that was the worst of it. So, Fight week, mate. Very pleased with Fight week. It was a normal thing. That was a Golden Boy card. Similar fight week build up. We have with Queensbury and Matchroom. Fights very good. Enjoyed all the fights. Really entertaining. Atmosphere. Not just us talking about it. The whole boxing community on Twitter were talking about it. It's got to be a cultural thing, because this was really weird, because normally when it's full in Saudi for the main event, you do have a atmosphere, but the fights leading up to it, there's no bugger in there. But the fights leading up to this was the same, but the main event, there was no one in there. It must have been about 1,000 people, and most of them were Brits. And now they're Brits that are in Saudi Arabia, which is a dry state, no alcohol. And we've spoken about this before, about us and the Australians and the Americans and the Puerto Ricans having a good old drink up. You get the old songs, you get the dancing, the singing, hyping everything up. Brilliant, great atmosphere. These cards are lacking it, and it's such shame because they're all getting well paid, get it, but they're not sort of getting. Help me out with the terminology. And mate, Turkey weren't even there either, so I found that a bit weird as well. So glad the fighters got paid, but I think when Turkey was talking about getting a liquor license, a liquor license, maybe that might make a difference for the fans traveling from abroad, because there's no atmosphere. And you said it there about CP's trainers going, yeah. If there was an atmosphere there, Dave, we wouldn't have heard that, would we?
No, and I think it is where we said this before. The crowd can make a big difference when you're down on your luck, when the chips are down, and you just need that little bit more just to push you through. And the crowd can do that sometimes, and you don't have that there. You can hear absolutely everything. For me, I put a tweet out on Saturday night saying they could have had this show at York Hall for the amount of people that were there, and they could have done. They need to do something like that. But listen, the fighters are not going to complain because they're getting paid so well. But atmosphere makes a massive difference. That's why the Yanks and that all look at the Brits like an amazing, like your 90,000s at Wembley singing Sweet Caroline. You need that. I mean, that gets everyone going. It makes it for a great event. Yes, he's putting on great fights, but you do need a crowd. You do.
It's not Vegas, is it? Or it's not MSG just yet, is it? Let's be totally honest.
No. That's the only thing that's lacking.
Yeah. It's funny, Michael Buffer calling out, getting paid fucking silly money to come out for one fight and then actually saying for the thousands of attendance.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
That was pretty fun. But all in all, I really enjoyed the card. So, performance of the week, mate, who did you go for?
Serrano and Katie Taylor should get it, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for Zerdo.
Yeah.
Zerdo's performance was brilliant.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And we knew he was good, but I didn't realise he was that good in a world title fight, it's unified division, and actually that dominant and getting caught as well and having a great chin and responding. I was just so impressed with his feet. So, yeah, there's been some good fights this weekend, but I think I'm with you this week, mate. I think he definitely deserves it. So, yeah, well done, Gilberto Zerdo Ramirez. So that's it, guys, for our roundup. I've forgotten my banners now, so I'm trying to do my banners now. So we do the usual. You'll see now for audio listeners. The next one coming up is the Bakole Files update. What have you got for us, brother? We know the result. You're supposed to be following Oscar De La Hoya next, but any update or Martin Bakole himself?
I thought you was going to announce that.
I just more or less have, haven't I?
You just have, yeah. So yeah, Bakole's been parked now. He's put out a couple of bits, but I've sort of, I was going to say lost interest, but I've got a bigger fish to fry now in Oscar De La Hoya. So, like I say, I will always dig at Bakole, and if I get a follow on him, obviously we'll announce it like fuck on here. But my next victim is Oscar De La Hoya, and you know what as well? He's also starting up a Twat Tuesday, isn't he? Which I thought where he's gonna out shitty comments on Twitter that people say to him. So now I'm thinking that's another way in, because if everyone's been an arsehole to him, I could blow smoke up his arse and get a follow. So the stars might be aligning here.
Yeah, very tactical, Dave.
Yeah, so I've thought this through.
Did you like his outfit, by the way?
Sorry?
You like his outfit on Saturday night, the traditional Mexican?
Oh yeah, that's it, the old Mexican stuff. Yeah. To be fair to him, he's a showman, isn't he?
Mm. Yeah.
The missus next to him. Yeah, I looked at her tits. She ain't had them done, like he said.
You not think?
No, she hasn't had them reduced. She can't have.
Oh, reduced, yeah. Like he said.
Yeah.
She's got to be on a waiting list, is she, with that kind of money? But yeah, maybe she changed her mind just for him.
Yeah.
Fair right. David McDonald and his dongs.
Right, I might go dark here for a minute, but it's David McDonald and the dongs. Right, so Ajit Caballero has now pulled out of purse bids for the IBF final limiter versus Martin Bakole which was set to determine the next mandatory challenger for Daniel Dubois' IBF heavyweight world title. Bakoli's trainer, Billy Nelson, who's come back on Twitter, by the way, has revealed Bakoli versus Zhilei Zhang will now likely to be ordered, as Zhang is next in the IBF heavyweight rankings. Thoughts?
Well, firstly, Zhang doesn't give a fuck who he fights. That's just as good a fight, if not better. But I want to know the real... because we're so high on Agit Kabayel in the boxing community from what he's done, I want to know the real reason why he's pulled out. Has he pulled out? Has he taken some sort of step aside money to fight the winner rather than going down a route that he's ducked? Was everyone apparently ducks Mike Bakoli? And it does look that way. I totally get it. But I want to know the reason why he's been pulled out of purse bids. Because he's on a path himself. He's no spring chicken. You know, he's on a crest of a wave, as you said. You do Bakoli, then you get the title fight against Dubois or the winner of Fury and Usyk, or whether the belts get scattered. So for him to pull out and not be guaranteed a world title fight per se, I find very, very strange. So, yeah, still not sure what I think about that, mate, but I'm not going to call him a ducker just yet.
No, me neither, mate. It's a shame, really, because
it is.
He's
earned it right.
Yeah, he earned his stripes for this fight. And it'd have been a really good fight. We know the way that Agit Kabayel fights. So, you know, it would have been intriguing. You know, you're silly to stand in front of Bakoli because Bakoli can bang and he can take a shot. But if you show some lateral movement, show a little bit of movement, it could have been a problem. So it would have been an intriguing fight. But Zhang and Bakoli is a big bang war, isn't it? So
yeah, it doesn't go the distance.
It's equally as exciting. But we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Announced, David Benavidez will face David Morrell in a light heavyweight clash on February 1st at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Brandon Figueroa and Stephen Fulton rematch, and Pitbull Cruz versus Angel Fierro with Jesus Ramos and Rosario on the undercard. So there was, obviously I'd spoken before about David Morrell, David Benavidez. It was rumoured to be happening. It's now confirmed 1st of Feb.
Mate, deal me in, sign me up, love it. One of the best fights to make in boxing. They should have fought at super middleweight. They've both gone up now to light heavy. They're the new boys at light heavy, so all you Brits better beware. It's on the PBC cards. They've got both their fighters. It's on Amazon Prime. Both of them couldn't get the Canelo fight. They were both interim champions and regular champions. So they just thought, fuck it, we're not waiting around for him. Let's go together and do this. I can't wait. I think it's a fantastic fight. I've got to admit, when sitting here now, my thoughts are going to be Benavidez, but it might change between now and in February. So I'm super high on both fighters. I like it. Exactly what I see. I think Morrell's a little bit younger than him. But yeah, love it, mate. I can't get enough of it. Even if I'm not at work that night, I'll be setting my alarm to get up and watch that. That's a brilliant bit of matchmaking.
Yeah, it's a great fight. It's a great fight. And, you know, it's one that's done not for Uncle Turkey. You know, so I did say that, you know, these other promoters...
Al Heyman showed that.
Yeah, these fighters do have to step up because, you know, if you're competing against the shows that are being put out there, you need to make big fights. And this is one of them. And I'm really looking forward to it, mate. This is a 50-50 fight. This is a pick 'em for me. It really is. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, you could probably lean for experience with David Benavidez, but at the same time, David Morrell's no mark, and it makes for a real interesting fight. That's a hard one to call, that is. Right. Natasha Jonas will face Ivana Habazin in a WBC and IBF welterweight world title unification fight on December 14th in Liverpool. You know, we're high on the women on here. For me, they're struggling to get work. They're having fights falling through, whatnot. Natasha Jonas is out in Liverpool in a few weeks' time, really. You know, coming up to December now. 3 weeks.
I read into this one. So she's a boxer fighter, same as Lauren Price. Goes and beats the other champion, brings the belt back home, and then you do a unification between Lauren Price and Natasha Jonas. Let's go. That's the only reason. I thought Lauren Price was supposed to be fighting Habazan and going down her own route of collecting all the belts. But maybe Ben Shalom's come up with an idea to bring all the belts back to boxer and do it that way. So, yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. And Natasha Jonas, man, she's nearly 40. She must be 40 nearly. So it's literally the last roll of the dice for her now. Go and pick up another belt and get him a Lauren Price. Let's see who the best, who the best welterweight is in the world, man.
And that's what I mean. Chantel Cameron.
They welterweights, aren't they? They are welterweights, aren't they? I think they are.
Yeah. Chantel Cameron needs to forget about Katie Taylor and move up and get in this mix, because there's 3 or 4 fighters in that division there she could have a round robin with, and you know, she wants to be active like she said to me, because me and her chat now. And and you know that's where she needs to go. There's a round robin there with 3-4 fighters, whereas in the division she's in, she's just calling out, waiting for Katie Taylor, stunting her own career.
Sandy Ryan's one everyone keeps going on about, isn't it? I'd love to see
exactly.
that. Sandy Ryan versus Chantal Cameron. They're two girls that don't like each other either, but what you see on Twitter. So yeah, I'm with you, mate. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Oscar De La Hoya, my new friend, has declared that Virgil Ortiz's next fight will take place on 22nd of Feb in Riyadh against either Jared Boots Ennis, Sebastian Fendora, or Terence Crawford. Now, that's a massive statement to be making.
I don't think it's Crawford.
I don't think it's Crawford, but if he gets any one of them names, you can jump on that train.
Yeah. Well, Boots is beatable from what we saw the other week. Wasn't impressed whatsoever. Yeah. We just spoke about names with Zepeda, and we spoke the other week about Boots' names, having David Avanesian and Limpinets as his best friends. So not very impressive. Sebastian Vandora, that'd be an interesting fight. Italian Inferno. I'd quite like to see that one. But yeah, let's wait until it's actually got made. Now he's in bed with Uncle Turkey and they're putting on shows in Riyadh. It's probably more believable than when he wasn't with Uncle Turkey. When Golden Boy were doing their thing, PBC were doing their thing, and top rank, etc. So it's more believable. I'm just gonna wait for it to confirm. I could go with any of them. All great fights. Yeah. Canelo's waiting for Crawford's waiting for a legacy fight, and it doesn't include any of those guys.
No, absolutely. You're correct there. Like I say, it's nice to see them names all being linked together, mate. So hopefully it can be made. It's a massive statement for him to say he's fighting either of them three. So, we'll see what comes of it. It's all rumours at this stage. Announced. Dillian Whyte will face Ebenezer Good Teta.
Ebenezer Good. That's
his first name, Ebenezer. Oh. In a heavyweight clash on December 15th in Gibraltar. Has he got a license, old Dillian Whyte? Is that why he's in Gibraltar? It must be.
Don't look like it, does it?
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to say with this one.
There's not really a lot to say, but it is news, and I know it's a very does anyone really care? No. As horrible as it sounds, do they?
So, Dillian's better than this. He's better than this. He doesn't need this. Whether it's just get ring rust off. If he goes in there and knocks him out in a round, what good's that to him? How old is Dillian Whyte now? 34, 35?
Yeah.
We'll watch it. We'll preview and review it, mate, but I can't get up for that. It's a rubbish fight.
If he doesn't come out to Ebenezer Good, though, that other fella, then there's something completely wrong, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe we should... I wonder if he has come out to that in the past, I bet we're not the first ones to come out with that.
Well, yeah, I know. Listen, if he doesn't, then I'll get his Twitter and say, listen, this is a song you need to come out of.
Yeah. Another one added to the list.
Yeah. Announced, Callum Smith will return to the ring on the Sonny Edwards Galal Yafai undercard on November 30th in Birmingham. He's fighting Anthony Yard's opponent at the moment, TBC.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to hear that he's not retiring, Callum Smith. He's still got a lot to give, I think. And there's some good matchmaking down there with Yard, with Willie Hutchinson, with Boatsy. So I'm good. That's turned into a nice little undercard. That is week over in Birmingham. I like that. Yeah, so it's nice to see Callum out again.
Yeah, I want to see him go on a little bit of a run now. Get a few fights under his belt and see where it takes him. Announced, Fernando Martinez will defend his WBA Super Flyweight World title in a rematch versus Kasadutu Ioka on December 31st in Tokyo, Japan.
Yeah, December the 31st. So that's
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think the New A Goodman one. That's Christmas Eve, isn't that one?
Christmas Eve, yeah.
We've got Christmas Eve and we've got New Year's Eve as well. Yeah. Great Christmas presents from Uncle Honda in Japan. Thank you very much.
They don't give a shit about Christmas and New Year over there, do they? They just fucking pile it on. They don't. They must not eat no turkey over there.
I just treat it as a present. I think it's a nice little gift.
Oh, I love it. I love it because I say I'll have the darts on. Because I like watching the darts over Christmas. That's sort of my thing. And then chuck a few fights in there as well. Class.
Well, title fights as well. Bring it on.
Yeah. Absolutely, mate. Looking forward to that. WB, you won't like this one. WBO President Gustavo Oliveira has stated that Hamza Shiraz has now withdrawn from the ordered Yanibek Anahala fight, so purse bids have been cancelled. Frank Warren previously said Shiraz will be fighting for a world title on Feb 22nd, but did not say who against. Thoughts, Mr. Graham? Because I don't imagine you're very, very happy with this.
I'm going to surprise you, mate. We're both Hamza Shiraz fans. Everyone seems to be ducking Yanni Beck. I feel sorry for the guy. He calls people out on social media. His team, his promotional company doesn't seem to be doing, from what I can see, a lot to get in fights. And his management team, Egan Klimas, maybe he's trying behind the scenes. He's just not getting the fights that he deserves. But what I will say on this one, I might sort of understand why they've pulled Hamza Shiraz out. And obviously Hamza Shiraz being the ambassador for Riyadh season, again, somebody else who's in bed with Uncle Turkey, has gone, look, we're trying to get all the belts together. We're trying to unify, get rid of those fucking shit sanctioning bodies and make the Ring Magazine the #1 belt. So here's my thinking, mate. The best champion in that division is Yanni Beck by a country mile. And obviously you've got Lara and you've got Adames. Go and do the Lara fight or go and do the Adames fight. Both winnable fights are Hamza Shiraz. He picks up a belt and let Yanni Beck crack on with the other one. He picks up the other belt and the two come together in Riyadh season to unify. Done and dusted. That's what I think they're going to do. Rather than Hamza Shiraz going in with Yanni Beck, taking a chance and getting beaten and still not being able to unify that division with Lara doing his thing and Adames doing that thing. I think Turkey's involved here somewhere, mate. Again, I'm not going to poo-poo it, as in he is ducking. I don't believe Hamza Shiraz is ducking Yanni Beck, but it does look like a duck. You know what they say? If it walks like a duck, it cracks like a duck. He's a duck, but no, I don't think he is. I think there's a bit more thought gone into it. I think there's a bit of thought process and the way around they can get both of them together and unify the whole division. You know, I don't know what you think, mate.
Yeah, no, it's very hard because you hear these things coming out. Yeah, I'm going to fight Yanni Beck, and then all of a sudden he's pulled out. Yeah, I'm sure there's a master plan. There always is. And then it more likely be Adames. I think it more likely be Adames. But I wish sometimes when you hear these things and people come out and say these things that you actually go through it. 9 times out of 10 it doesn't happen. But listen, again, there's probably bigger plans behind it all, and this fight will happen. Not as quickly as we would like, but it will certainly happen. So
if it was another fighter doing that, I'd be like, oh, he's a fucking pussy. That's a dog. That is Danny Beck. You know what I mean?
If that was Chris Eubank Jr., mate, you'd be off on one.
Yeah, so would you. Somewhat's coming from him, but no, that's how I believe it's going to go. I think they've had a meeting, they've had a talk with Queensbury, and obviously Team Shiraz as well, and they've made their mind up. If Frank says he's fighting for a world title, and it's obviously now the WBO are coming and saying he's pulled out purse bids, we know it's not going to be Yanni Beck, so it's one of the other two.
Yeah.
So
let's see, mate.
He's the international silver champion with the WBC. So Adames is the WBC champion. So it looks like it will be Adames, mate, because obviously he can't be ranked with the WBA holding that bullshit belt. So it does look like Adames, you're right.
Yeah, I'd say it's Adames next, but we'll see. And I'll get the exclusive when it happens. And that is it for David McDonald and the Don.
Thank you, sir. Right, what we got next? Here we go. The Prediction League. Now, ladies and gentlemen, last week I literally forgot about them. Not the scores, and not for a reason. And then I did write them what was the last episode we done? On Friday, our preview show. And they were outside in my coat pocket. I couldn't be asked to go and get them. But I have got them. So we've got 2 weeks to catch up on. But I'm not going to go through the whole Boots BAM card for the results. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So what I will do, I will just read out the results. And by the way, Dave, you did win that week. So there's no sort of, I need to see proof that I didn't win. So here we go. So what did I write down in my notes? Let's have a nosy. Right. Bloody, blah. Right. I can confirm that, Dave, yes, you did win the Boots BAM weekend. I had a score of 14, which is quite a lot, by the way. You racked up a score of 21 points that weekend.
Jesus Christ.
Making the tally going into the Zerdo fight week. I was on 338 and you were on 366, extending the gap yet again to 28 points when I got it down to 21. So fight's just gone. Let's see the difference, if there is a difference. Taylor and Serrano, we both went for Serrano, so there's fuck all there. Shushu against Caldwell, we both said Shushu by KO. So only 1 point apiece there as it went the distance. The Barrios fight, we both went for Barrios. It was a draw, so nothing for us there. Zerdo CBS, we both went for Zerdo on points, so we both got 3 points there. Ramirez versus Barboza Jr., we both went for Barboza on points, so another 3 points there. And William Cepeda versus Tevin Farmer, we both went for Cepeda. I went for the KO, but Dave went for points. So just a 1 point for me there, and Dave's just nicked it with an extra 2 points there, making it 3 points in total for that fight. So scores on the night were myself 8, Dave 10, making the overall scores myself 346 and Mr. Holland 376, extending the gap yet again to 30 points. I've only got 6 weeks to put it back. It's not happening, is it?
Not looking likely, mate. But
No.
You've given it a good go.
I have. Every time I get close, it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back for me, isn't it? That's how it's seeming anyway. But we've got a new idea next year, guys. We're still doing the prediction league as always, but we're going to do it in a slightly different format. We look forward to that. But at the moment, Dave's smashing it. I think, as I say, I've got about six weeks left this year to try and pull at least something back. And I'm not talking about my foreskin. Anyway.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. We don't care what we say on this podcast to an extent. Right. There's fuck all going on this week, mate. There's hardly any boxing at all. I've pulled 2 fights out here, one in the UK, one over in the States. So we should get through these pretty quickly. So, as you see up there, ladies and gentlemen, it says Harlem Eubank versus Nurali Erdogan. It's on a Friday night up in Newcastle. Harlem Eubank is the main event as he looks to extend his unbeaten run to 20-0 as he takes on France's Nurali Erdogan in the welterweight division. 12-fight card, this is, Dave. There's not a lot on there to be excited about, even though there's a lot of fights. It's a Wasserman card. I think I had a nosy earlier. Local lad, Cyrus Patterson, he's on it, but it's really mainly about Harlem Eubank. His opponent is 16-3 with 1 KO. Just by his record, doesn't carry any sort of pop with 1 record, and he's lost 2 of his last 4 fights. He's never been stopped. He's probably here to give Harlem a few rounds, make him look good. Harlem's got a massive puncher himself, mate. Does he stop him? Does it be boring? Does it go the distance? What are you thinking here, Dave? Harlem Eubank back out on the main event on Friday night.
I'm still wondering what happened with Harlem Eubank and Adam Azim. They stepped in the ring with each other, had a face-off, for fuck's sake, and then it just died a death. Now, Adam Azim's gone on and got a fantastic win. Harlem Eubank could get the same outcome, but it won't have the same impact due to the opponent. So I don't know what's happened there, but he for me, he's in there to give Harlem Eubank rounds. I don't know. He hasn't been out for a while, so he needs them.
It's his first this year, I think, is it?
We reviewed his last fight.
Last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seems that way, yeah.
First fight of the year, then.
Yeah. And but no, for me, I think he's going to go on there and make a little bit of a statement. Is it 10 or 12 rounds, mate?
I think it's 10. I haven't got box ranking for. I'm sure it's 10.
I'm going to go for Harlem Eubank.
No title, is there? There's no title, so I'm sure it's 10, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Harlem Eubank to I would say make a statement because he's in a guy with lost 3. I'm never, not a massive name, but I'm going to go for Harlem Eubank to win in round 5.
Good. At least you can get something to get excited about, mate. I think this is going to be boring.
To be fair, racking my brain back, I think Harlem Eubank looked very well in his last fight. I think we were waxing lyrical about him. I think, I'm
more to this opponent, it's Erdogan.
Yeah.
I think he's going to, as we just said, I think he's going to come there to give him rounds, and then look to survive, kind of thing, and sort of go on the back foot. And so I've done the distance with Harlem Eubank. I can't get up for this fight. I've got to be honest. Obviously, I'm going to go the same way as you, but I'm going to go on points with Harlem Eubank. And I think really what's going to happen, mate, Harlem Eubank wins, and Channel 5 has been shows to get out the ring, don't they? They sit on the edge of the ring. Channel 5 then have that sort of that prospect come on and do his thing. But as they're talking, the question will be Adam Azim next or Dalton Smith. That's literally what it's going to be. And you're going to have Eubank Senior right next to him doing the old Rastafari and all that kind of nonsense, aren't you? That's literally what's going to happen on Friday night.
Sorry, my mother tongue just comes out sometimes.
That'd be the most entertaining bit. And I don't want to poo-poo on it. I wish Harlem Eubank all the best. I hope he gets a win. I hope he gets a knockout win as well. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go out for this one. It's not tickling me balls, mate. If I'll be honest. Yeah, good luck to him. So that's on Channel 5 on Friday night, guys. I said there wasn't a lot to get excited about this weekend. Found another one on Friday night. So there's literally 0 going on Saturday. So this is Friday night going into Saturday morning in the super welterweight division. This is Brandon Adams. Beg my pardon. He looks to add to his rebuild, if you like, when he lost to Jamal Charlo back in 2019. He goes in against an unbeaten Greek opponent in Andreas Katsikaris, I think that's pronounced. Now,
Yeah.
visual would be able to pronounce it better than me. The Greek, I'm going to call him. It doesn't seem to have an alias either. So this Greek dude called Andreas. It's over 10 rounds. It's over in the States, Atlanta to be precise. Brandon Adams is ranked in the top 15. I had a little nosy at the rankings, Dave. He's in the top 15 with a WBC and a WBA. It's his fourth fight this year, I believe. He's had 3 fights already, so it's his fourth fight this year. He was inactive a couple of years ago, since after the Charlo loss. But he's on a 4-win winning streak with 3 KOs in there. One of them was against Boyachuk, which is a really good name on his resume to have.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of his fights earlier. I sent you a couple of videos over. I've heard of the name. I've never really watched him, so I've done a little bit of homework today going and watching him. Do you know who he reminds me of, Dave? He's got a kind of a look of his style. It's a bit like Mike Tyson and Christian Mbilli rolled into one.
You fucking took the words out of my mouth.
Yes, isn't he?
I
Basically, we haven't discussed this, guys. That's literally what he looks like, isn't he?
Straight away, I was going to say he's got the Christian Mbilli look about him. He swings hooks from wide angles, very open through the centre. But yeah, he's got a lot of power there. But yeah, he's definitely got the Mbilli look about him, which is exactly what I was going to say. And he stole my thunder. But you go on, by all means, carry on.
And that's basic. That's the style he presents. This other guy, the Greek, I don't know who it is, but he's got 14 wins. I did write down his knockout. Yeah, he's got 10 knockouts. He does carry power, but obviously the level of opponent that Adams has been in with is highly superior than what he is. I don't really know anything about the Greek guy, and I'm normally kind of give him disrespect. I don't really know why Brandon Adams is fighting this level of opponent, if I'm totally honest, Dave. So he's gone and beat Boyachuk, which is a great win. We just saw Boyachuk go life and death for Virgil Ortiz Jr. We just spoke about Virgil Ortiz Jr. going in with Boots Ennis and whatnot. So why it's a bit of a step back, if you like. There's obviously reasons for it. But he looks a bit of a brute, bit of a powerhouse, old Adam. So I'm more looking, even though I don't really know these two guys, especially don't know the Greek guy, I'm looking forward more to this one than I am the Harlem Eubank, because I think there's a knockout here somewhere. The Greek guy looks a little bit taller, a little bit more, sticks his chin out in the air, where you've got the Mike Tyson-esque Christian Mbilli with the massive hooks. He's going to land a fucking overhand right or big uppercut. I can see a knockout here, mate. What
yeah, I can. Yeah, no, I'm with you, mate. This has got knockout written all over it. Now I think that win against Boyachuk is a brilliant win. I watched that, and he knocked him out clean as well. So he obviously carries power. He's exciting. He's explosive. And yeah, I can see him doing this on Friday night. I can see Andreas. I'm going to try and do his name here. Is it Katazauskis? How about that?
Katazauskis. That's closer than mine. You're normally rubbish with names. Zarask. Yeah. Greek. Paddy the Greek.
yeah. Ross sunglasses Ron. But yeah, I can see this being a bit of a slugfest for a little while. I think it's going to be Brandon Adams pushing him up against the ropes and teeing off on him. And I'm Joe. I'm going to go for 5 and 5. I'm going to go for round 5 in this one as well. Yeah. Brandon Adams to win in round 5.
Yeah, I like what I see more of him than I do the Paddy the Greek. So I'm going to go round 6, give him a bit more credit. But yeah, that's basically it. That's all there is, really, guys. There's bits of the undercards, but nothing to get excited about. So we've got a quiet weekend. We've done an hour and 28 minutes, believe it or not. So if we do an hour and 28 minutes next week, there's fucking problems if we keep fucking talking about these two fights. But it's Sonny Edwards against Galawia Fire next week, and I think it's Navarrete versus Valdez, and you've got that great rematch in Rafael Espinoza and Robson Ramirez. I'm sure it's next week. So there's a lot to talk about, mate. So, we've done our reviews. We've done our predictions and our preview. So anything else to add, mate, before we say our goodbyes and fuck off?
No, not today, mate. I'm cream crackered, and that's no lie. So I'm going to go down, have a David Gower, and then go to bed.
I don't blame you. Weekend plans?
Ryan Ridge's birthday on Friday. Okay. So I think he's meeting up after work. So I'll probably go mosey on down and meet him after work. 9 times out of 10, it goes pear-shaped when I meet them. Pretty much like when I meet you. But I said I can't meet him for a few, but I'll probably be dying on Saturday. So my one weekend that hasn't been on the piss is probably lasted exactly what it has, one weekend. And I think I go into next weekend, or this weekend, let's say, on the piss. And then we're going into December where it's danger time. So
this is the warm-up then.
It is. But what about yourself, mate? What you got going on?
Well, as I said in the intro, I plan not to drink. But it doesn't always end up like that. On a Sunday, I normally have a few Polish lagers and I'll cut the bottle of wines, but I've got to calm it down. I'm doing nothing this week, mate. Stourbridge, the girls aren't playing until the week after in a cup game against Kidderminster. I was on a podcast last week, Stourbridge Women podcast, saying my piece on that. Getting recognised, which is quite nice. I wish it was for my boxing content, but not for me fucking opinion on women's football.
What are you getting autographed in that?
No, I wish, mate. Just down, the local club. Obviously, I'm doing
yeah.
it on the podcast, and a couple of people says, "Oh, I enjoyed your take on the Glass Girls Network the other day," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, thanks." So literally,
how many sort of views are they getting?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. Have a look when you get after. Have a look when you get off the podcast and go on the Glass Girls Network, and it will tell you how many there. It's only a small little club, so obviously the 50 people that go and watch them. She's starting to recognise me. Not that they didn't ever recognise me before, but they're putting a face to a voice, if you like. So
yeah.
Apart from that, I'm just cooking some dinner. Freya's got a match. Noah's got a match, so it should be a quiet one for me as well, mate. So I was going to ask you actually, just before we go, nothing inquisitive. Obviously, we've done our non-boxing question of the week on Friday. That's got a few more days left yet. I think the winner at the moment is what was the options? Not thick people. What was it? What was it?
Q jumpers.
Q jumpers. That's the one. That was leading with 40% at the moment.
It's so British, that, isn't it?
Yeah, most of the masses don't like Q jumpers. So we've got 4 or 5 days left. So we'll see on next episode what the boxing rope boxing podcast fact.
Yeah.
About our non-boxing question. But my question was to you, mate. Alfie and his boxing. You haven't mentioned anything lately. You haven't mentioned anything about Page the Rage. Is there any tournaments coming up before Christmas, or are we starting afresh in 2025?
No, I think they're going to be out again in January.
Nice.
So yeah, there's not a lot going on. He's training away like good, and as he always does. I dropped him there yesterday. Yeah, Sunday. I dropped him and picked him up. They're all plugging away, all of them. I spoke to Paige the Rage. She the other day when I went and picked him up, she was standing outside stroking my dogs. I took the 2 dogs.
Okay.
And then she come out and I was chatting to her. Yeah, she's mad for it. She's like a couple of little girls in there, but yeah, she's doing well. So yeah, no, nothing from the old Patrick Wilson's club, the Norfolk ABC, until the new year, mate.
Nice little plug there. And that's the last plug of the episode, guys. That's it for episode 83. Like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, and do the same for your audio feed via Apple, Spotify, Amazon, along with a 5-star review. Thank you, please. Obviously, go over to Twitter and interact with us there. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. Stay safe. And as I always say, enjoy the bloody boxing. Well, for what there is of it this weekend. So David boy, have a good one, mate. Peace out, brother.
Take care, mate. Have a good one.